I promise to love, cherish and respect you in times of joy and in times of sorrow, from this day forward, for as long as we both shall live.
I promise to give you all the love that I can, even when things don't quite go to plan. I will trust, respect and care for you always, have you in my heart for the rest of my days. I do everything I can to make you happy, try my utmost not to be snappy. There's no way that I could do life without you by my side, there is no doubt. If we take things way back to the start, you helped me pass physics because you're so smart. You managed to bring out the best things in me. Together we won't fall, unlike our slow tree. I can get through anything with you by my side, one of the reasons that I chose to be your bride. We have a bond so strong that it won't fade, making it the easiest decision I've ever made. I'm so lucky that I managed to find a soulmate like you who's so loving and kind. I can't believe that I get to spend the rest of my life with my best friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand if you can. and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Blunsford Hall and to the wedding ceremony of Ben and Katie. Stephen, thank you for escorting Katie here today for her marriage to Ben. Would you like to hand your flowers to Susan? Will you all please be seated? You right? Yeah, okay. You can move in a bit. Okay. On behalf of Ben and Katie, I'd like to thank you all for being here as they celebrate the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. I know it means a great deal to them that you can all be here to share in their happiness and to witness this important and special occasion. For Ben and Katie, getting married here today is a confirmation of the love, respect, and friendship that they have for each other. Today they have found happiness and fulfillment, and it is in the spirit that they have chosen to affirm their relationship in this formal and public pledge. This place in which we are now met has been duly sanctioned according to law for the celebration of marriage, and we are here to witness the joining in matrimony of Ben Jared Manchandani and Catherine Barlow. If any person knows of any lawful impediment to this marriage, they must declare it now. That's good. Ben and Katie, before you are joined in matrimony, it is my duty to remind you of the solemn and binding character of the vows you are about to make. The law of this country allows two people to make the lifelong commitment to marriage. This legally binding union is to be entered into voluntarily and to the exclusion of all others. I'm now going to ask each of you in turn to declare that you do not know of any lawful reason why you should not be married to each other. Please reply, I am. Okay, I'll start with you. Are you Ben Jared Ramchandani lawfully free to marry Catherine Barlow?
I am.
Thank you. And now you, Catherine. Are you Catherine Barlow lawfully free to marry Ben Jared Ramchandani?
I am.
Thank you. Will you now turn to face each other and take each other by both hands as you call upon your guests to witness these, your formal vows of marriage? Ben, will you say these words to Katie? I, Ben Jared Ramchandani.
I, Ben Jared Ramchandani.
Take thee, Catherine Barlow.
Take thee, Catherine Barlow.
To be my wedded wife.
To be my wedded wife.
And now, Katie, will you say these words to Ben? I, Catherine Barlow.
I, Catherine Barlow.
Take thee, Ben Jared Ramchandani.
Take thee, Ben Jared Ramchandani.
To be my wedded husband.
To be my wedded husband.
Thank you. And now we have a reading, Game of Thrones, read by Rachel. If you'd like to come up, Rachel.
As you are the moon of his life, he shall be your sun and stars. Your love shall be ever present as those two celestial bodies, even though they are sometimes hidden from one another's sight. Your love will be the guiding force that guides the course of your tomorrows, holds your world together in difficult times, and will make human life itself shine brighter and bolder than we have any right to dream of.
Marriage is a promise of hope between two people who love each other, who honour one another as individuals, and who wish to share their future together. It enables two people to share their dreams and memories, their joys and laughter, and to help each other through troubled times. In marriage, they will belong together, providing each other with mutual love and respect to enrich both their lives. Ben and Katie, you have both made formal vows of marriage to each other in the presence of your guests. I ask you now to confirm your commitment to each other and to your married life together. Ben, do you promise to love, cherish, and care for Katie for the rest of your lives together?
I do.
Thank you. And Katie, do you promise to love, cherish, and care for Ben for the rest of your lives together?
I do.
Thank you. Ben and Katie, you have chosen to seal the promises you have made today by the giving and receiving of wedding rings, which will always be an outward sign of your vows of love, respect, and commitment to each other. Now I invite Matt. Would you like to come up? And Matt, can you give Ben, you've got yours, the ring? If you'd like to place that slowly on the left hand, nice and slowly, that's it. And if you'd like to then say your vows.
I promise to love, cherish, and respect you in times of joy and in times of sorrow, from this day forward, for as long as we both shall live. I choose you to be my partner in life, and I give you this ring as a reminder of the commitment I have made to you today. I love you, Katie.
Thank you. Now, could you give Katie Ben's ring? And if you'd like to place that on his left finger. Look it on. Lovely. And if you'd like to take yours. Take your time. That's lovely.
I usually save my poetry skills for funerals, but I thought I'd make an exception. I promise to give you all the love that I can, even when things don't quite go to plan. I will trust, respect, and care for you always, have you in my heart for the rest of my days. I do everything I can to make you happy, try my utmost not to be snappy. There's no way that I could do life without you by my side, there is no doubt. If we take things way back to the start, you helped me pass physics because you're so smart. You managed to bring out the best things in me. Together we won't fall, unlike our slow tree. I can get through anything with you by my side, one of the reasons that I chose to be your bride. We have a bond so strong that it won't fade, making it the easiest decision I've ever made. I'm so lucky that I managed to find a soulmate like you who's so loving and kind. I can't believe that I get to spend the rest of my life with my best friend. To remind you of this, I give you this ring, not just a piece of common garden bling. It's a symbol of our commitments today, a sign that I'll always be here to stay.
Oh, thank you. Let these rings be a visible reminder of your promises as you enter into the days of your marriage together. Now we have a reading read by Luke, if you'd like to come up.
Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places, you're off and away. You have brains in your head, you'll have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own and you know what you know. And you are the couple who'll decide where to go. You'll look up and down streets, look them over with care. About some you will say, we don't choose to go there. With your heads full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not so good street. And you may not find any you'll want to go down. In that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town. It's opener there, in the wide open air. Out there things can happen, and frequently do, to people as brainy and footsy as you. And when things start to happen, don't worry, don't stew. Just go right along. You'll start happening too. Oh, the places you'll go.
We all join today in wishing you many wonderful years together. May you always love, honour, and cherish one another. Let no failure or misfortune ever part you. May you live full, rich, and happy lives together. Ben and Katie, you have made the declarations prescribed by law, and you have made solemn and binding marriage vows with each other in the presence of your guests, witnesses, and the Registrar of Marriages. You have sealed those vows with the giving and receiving of wedding rings, and in addition, you have given to each other a promise of lifelong commitment. Ben and Katie. It now gives me great pleasure to pronounce you as husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Traditionally, so you've got your sword arm free to protect her from all the More importantly, though, stay on her right side. Well, that is the end of the formal ceremony today. They said the right words and we've signed the paperwork. So they are well and truly married. So it just remains for Anne-Marie and I to wish you two a long and happy marriage, and the rest of you to enjoy the celebrations here today. Now, if you're able to, will you all please stand and join us in congratulating
If you are able, could you please stand to welcome in the couple who are so happy they are practically aglow. I present to you Ben and Katie. Hi everyone. Can I have your attention for a few minutes, please? Because I think it is time to be spoken to. First off, we have the father of the bride, Stephen Barlow.
Welcome everyone, ladies and gents, boys and girls. Hold it further away. All right. Are we all having a good night tonight, or good afternoon and a good day? Yeah. Hopefully that's not just about to change. We have some guests from all over the world here today. I'd like to pay particular attention to our friends from Houston, Texas. Over there, Rachel and Neil. We've also got someone here from Singapore. Welcome, Dan, otherwise known as Granule. We've also got Jason and Lani from Chicago. Where are you? Hello. And we've also got Sandra, Bill and Celeste, Ontario, Canada. Thank you for making such an effort to come to the wedding today. It's really appreciated by all of us. We've also got a big group from another place that most people here will think is a foreign land. Katie's hometown, Manchester. And I'm sure we've got people from all over the UK as well. And on behalf of myself, Susan, Paul and Vicky, Ben's parents, for anyone who didn't know that, and obviously Katie and Ben, we'd like to thank you all for making the effort of coming here to help us celebrate this fantastic day. So thank you all for doing that. On to Katie now. Doesn't she look beautiful? Doesn't if I wasn't stood here making this speech, I wouldn't believe that I could be a dad, but obviously something's happened somewhere, and she's my beautiful daughter. And she's probably thinking now, what is my dad going to say about all those times when I used to be in the pub till all hours, drinking, partying, coming home late at night, staggering home, waking the house up in the early hours, spending the night on the bathroom floor, head over the toilet. Oh no, that's our other daughter, isn't it? Yeah, that's not. Obviously, Katie was never like that. She was absolutely the perfect child. From day one when she arrived, she always did everything. She was so easy to be a parent of. It was unbelievable, really. We had other friends and people who we knew who'd had kids. They'd have troubles in the night, no sleep, striking all the time, going out, kids embarrassing them. And that just wasn't Katie. She was an absolutely perfect child. It was so easy. It really was. And I know Emily's pulling her face at this now. And I know when she was young, when she was 2 or 3, I remember when I used to come home from work quite late most nights, and before anyone says anything, I did have a proper job once. I know some people think I don't have, but they're probably right now. But I used to come home from work, and she'd be waiting there for me, and she'd have a Wendy house up in the front room, and she'd want me to go in there and play when I come home from work, and she'd play with a little toy kitchen, make me tea and what have you, and we'd chat about the days we'd had, and then we'd play with the latest toy or whatever. And then later on, it was bedtime, and we did the bedtime story. I know we're all probably familiar with that sort of stuff. And because I was out at work most of the day and Sue had Katie all day, I tended to do the bedtime story. So what we'd do is, Katie loved books back in the day. We used to go up to her bedroom. She'd pick the favourite book. I'd lie down next to her, start reading the story. And fairly soon it'd go a bit quiet. Breathing would get heavy, eyes would start to close, and then the next thing I'd hear was, "Daddy, Daddy, wake up! It's me that's supposed to be going to sleep, not you." And I can tell you now, many a time Sue would come up. I'd been up there hours. She'd come up and I'd be on the bed laying next to Katie. I'd be snoring my head off, and Katie would be reading a book to herself. So. But I must have done something right, because when she actually went to school, that tuition I gave you must have worked, mustn't it? Because the marks at school that she got, she was always in the top class. She was always getting the best results in the sets and in the classes. And going to parents' evening was an absolute joy. It was like, well, isn't she a great kid? Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure. It really was. And that carried on through college, and then subsequently, obviously, she applied to go to Cambridge University, which when you're from where we're from, that's a bit alien to us. Even going to university is a major achievement, and she managed to get to Cambridge. And Sue and I, you wouldn't believe how often, when we're in a conversation, even if we weren't talking about universities or our daughter or anything else, "Oh, did you know our daughter went to Cambridge?" or "Our daughter's at Cambridge." We're just so proud of that, and it's just unbelievable for us. And right, get back to my notes now. When I drop that into conversation, I usually got the response to me, "Well, where does she get her brains from?" And I'd say, "Well, isn't it obvious?" And usually I got the answer, "Well, yeah, you must have a brainy wife." So, which is obviously true, isn't it, Susan? Yeah. But Katie has a number of Barlow traits, attributes, whatever you want to call them. One of them's intelligence, obviously. I think that's inherited from me. I think Susan thinks it's inherited from you, dear. I think the general view is it's not inherited from either of us, but anyway, there we go. Punctuality, that's another trait that you've got, isn't it? I don't know where you've got that from, do you? Lastminute.com. I think you and me both think that it's polite to be on time or a little bit late. Yeah, other people think it's polite to get there early. Not at all. And when doing anything, a task or anything like that, Katie's got 2 speeds. That's slow and even slower. Don't know who you get that from, do you?
No idea.
Hardworking and conscientious, those are 2 other words that come to me when I think of Katie. Again, that's from me, obviously. Maybe not, eh? Is it from your mum? The final attribute, which I'm really proud of, Katie is what we'd call thrifty with money. That's a long-standing Barlow tradition, that is. We don't like spending a penny where we can get away with spending nothing, that's for sure. And I can tell you, Ben's not far behind on that front either. If anyone who knows Ben will know that as well. So they make a perfect couple on that front. But going back to Cambridge, I know when Katie first went there, she won't mind me saying this, it was very difficult for her. She struggled a bit. She found it very hard. The degree she was doing was very, well, was way above my intellect, that's for sure. Natural sciences, and part of that was physics. And as she said in her lovely poem that she made, wasn't that a lovely poem, by the way? Oh, brilliant. She was struggling with that a bit, and we had a few stressful conversations between us. Susan was getting stressed, as she tends to do quite often. Not surprising living with me, actually, but anyway. So it was really difficult for her initially. But we had one conversation, and she said, well, I've found a friend now, and he's coming to stay quite a lot, and he's helping me a lot with my physics. So we don't really know exactly what went on, but we're fairly certain quite a lot of chemistry developed, that's for sure. And yeah, whatever you did, Ben, it certainly worked. So she got through it, and as we know, the rest is sort of history. They've been inseparable ever since. And Ben, I think, well, I'd like to say, both Susan and myself are really grateful for what you did for Katie. And we couldn't be happier that you're now her husband. So thank you. I know that you do everything for her. You will do everything for her, and you'll be together forever. So thanks for that. Normally, one piece of advice, take it from me. You don't have to do absolutely everything that Katie asks you to. Just make sure you do most things and you'll be all right. Also, something else that Katie's been brilliant at is she was a brilliant sister to Emily. The relationship they have is brilliant, and I know Emily's going to say a few words about that in a moment. And in fact, normally we'd have the toast at this point, but Emily's going to say a few words, tell you all about her relationship with Katie, and probably a few other things about Katie as well that you might be interested to know about. So I'll hand you over to her now, and we'll come back and do the toast in a short while. So thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Emily. And for those who do know me, I'm Emily. I'm the one who's sick all over the bathroom, wakes up the whole house, etc., etc. Those are, in fact, some of the traits I've inherited from my father. I've known Katie my whole life. We've been sisters since the day I was born. And over the last 24 years that we have been sisters, I've seen Katie be the most selfless, generous and tolerant sister in the world. When we were younger, I would be constantly asking Katie, can I go shopping with you and your friends? Can I join you and your friends when you have a sleepover? Can I go to that concert with you and your friends? And the shocking part is Katie would always say yes. I don't really know what I did to deserve such a tolerant and kind big sister. I thought all big sisters were supposed to be a bit embarrassed of their younger sister tagging along, but Katie never was, and I will always be grateful for that. So thank you very much. Because some of my favourite memories did stem from me tagging along with her and her friends. So shout out to Becky and Luke sat over here, because they've put up with me for probably about 15 years at this point, and I still tag along wherever they go now. Katie doesn't even ask, they just assume I'm going to be there. Moving away from being a bit younger and more towards the present, I actually don't really know how Katie has managed to plan this wedding. If you know anything about Katie, one of her traits that hasn't already been highlighted is her complete lack of ability to make a decision. So, I'm sure you can imagine, making the decision on the wedding dress was no different. Now, speaking of her dress, can we just have some appreciation for Katie and her dress and how beautiful she looks in that today? So that appreciation should actually be directed at me and my mother, because we practically had to beg Katie to get this dress, which was actually her favourite, and not just keep the one that she accidentally got sent off ASOS for free, just because it was free. So that wasn't very thrifty of her father, so that might be one moment you're not so proud of there. But you can blame me for that, as you do most things. But on a serious note, thankfully, Katie hasn't been too much of a tight git when it came to planning this wedding, because this day has been beautiful, and I'm sure everyone here is really grateful to be a part of their special day. Once again, Katie has done this wedding the way she has done everything in her life. She's set the bar exceptionally high so that I, as the younger sibling, will never be able to live up to the expectations that have been set. And that pretty much sums up what it's like to be Katie's sister. But I wouldn't change it for the world. You always need someone to admire and look up to as a child, and there isn't a better role model than Katie. But this wedding isn't just about Katie, so the next bit is directed to my brother-in-law. So we all know Katie and Ben met at university. The day that we dropped her off was the worst day of my then 15-year-old self's life. I cried all the way home in the car along with my mother, and every night for about 2 weeks. I missed her so much. She was my best friend, and she still is. But today she has married her soulmate, which means my best friend role is now vulnerable. So I would like to take this opportunity to remind Ben that although you are now married, she was my big sister first. So I've written a couple of rules for you, Ben, which I will read to you now. Number 1, when it comes to ordering food or takeaways, me and Katie will always be sharing. You'll have to get your own. Number 2, whenever we go to theme parks, on roller coasters, me and Katie will always sit together. You'll be on the row behind. When we play the board game Articulate, which is a team game, me and Katie will always be a pair, and no, you can't join us and be a 3. And finally, when we meet up, Ben, and we make some plans together, you don't actually have a say in the activities or the plans that we make. You just have to pay for them. Now, I will just finish off by saying I am genuinely so happy and grateful that you've joined our family, Ben. You have made Katie so happy, and together you make a fantastic couple. I would like to wish you a long and happy marriage filled with lots of board games, adventures, cuddles from Ben, and happy memories. So, I'll hand you to my father to make a toast.
Brilliant speech there, Emily. Well done. Really well done. Lucky father, me answer. Yeah, I think now's the time to do the toast. So if everyone can just charge the glasses, and if you are able, please be upstanding. To the perfect couple, Katie and Ben. Katie and Ben. Thank you. Now it's your turn, Ben.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the wonderful speeches. All right. It's really great to see everyone here, so thank you for coming. First, a few words for Katie. We've built a life together and already made so many memories over the last 8 years. We've looked after each other, we've laughed together, and there's no one I'd rather have by my side. I feel incredibly lucky to be able to say I'm your husband. I love you, Katie, and I can't wait to make so many more great memories with you over the years to come. Thank you. All right, I'd like to take this opportunity to express my appreciation for everyone that's made today possible. So first, to Mum and Dad, thank you for always being there to support me. It's easy to take it for granted, but I want to know I appreciate everything you've done for me, and I love you both very much. So. To Stephen and Susan, thank you for always making me feel welcome and involving me in events and holidays and making me feel like part of the family. And of course, for raising 2 wonderful daughters and letting Katie come away down south with me.
Wow.
And thank you to both sets of parents for helping to put the day together, from the car, band, to the cake stand, to organising the bridal party, and coordinating countless intricate details. And I think worrying it on our behalf probably more than we did ourselves. Thank you to Emily, Becky, and Cara. You all look lovely today, and thank you for supporting Katie through the process and over the last few months. Thank you to Alex and Cara for lending your musical talents to the ceremony today. Really wonderful. Thank you, Rachel and Luke, for the readings. And thank you, Rachel, Chloe, Cara, Emily, and Anna, all for baking cupcakes today. They're over there. Very much looking forward to the cake cutting. I'll do my level best to try one of each. And thank you to Matt for being my best man and organising everyone around today and for the speech that's to come. Try not to look too worried. And finally, thank you all for the gifts, for the good wishes, and most of all, for being here today. It wouldn't have been the same without everyone here. So thank you very much for all being here. All right, that is it. So, Matt, it's all yours.
Great. Thank you. I get the unenviable task of speaking last after many very heartfelt speeches, and I've been editing mine in my head to see if I can keep up. Thankfully, Ben has done his part to keep my speech very short and sweet by having absolutely no tales of debauchery or drunken antics that anyone was willing to tell me. And so I'm speaking to you in my role as best man, which I regard as being very flattering because up until today I was only really an okay at best man. And we don't have to look very far to find a much better man who has been rather busy today getting married. So Ben has been my friend and games partner for 14 years now, I think, starting off at playing card games at school between and sometimes in lessons, carrying a dozen packs of cards between us, such that each time one of them was confiscated, we could simply pull out another and continue where we left off. After school, we were no better, and we played video games online instead of doing any homework or revision, and here I started to see a little pattern emerging. So every 2 weeks or so, someone would suggest a new game for us to play, and we would start on a level playing field. And after a couple of days, we'd all start to get a bit sick of losing to Ben, who had picked it up. I hear that this trend continued to university, where he became such an aficionado of board games, and I also remember hearing that he had a study partner who had been staying up late revising with at university. And as we've heard before, and given where we find ourselves today, and that they weren't even doing the same subject, I think there might have been a little bit more going on. So the trend of Ben winning at all games has definitely continued. So on a regular board games night with Ben, no matter how canny I think I've been, or how complicated the game is, there is one thing that I can be entirely sure of, and that is complete and total defeat at his hands. So it rapidly became clear that Ben really liked his study partner. And that has only increased as the years have gone on. And today they are almost entirely inseparable. I think that policy of inseparability has been challenged somewhat, especially because one of the first times Katie came to hang out with me, she'd bravely signed up to watch a bad movie night with Ben. And I don't really know if she'd been briefed about what she was getting in for, but I don't think she was expecting 7 hours of Star Wars prequels back to back. And if she's willing to put up with that, she's willing to put up with anything for Ben. That policy of inseparability caused them a little bit of trouble even just yesterday, where Ben wasn't allowed back because it's the night before the wedding, and Katie had checked. Ben, you've got a key for the house, right? Of course he did. He's very sensible. He's organised. And we saw a sheepish Katie on the doorstep asking for the spare key afterwards. So, in addition to winning at all games, Ben occupies a very special place in my heart for being my most reliable, or at least useless friend. I suspect with quite a lot of support. So, in our group chat for many years, he had the nickname King Ben, as a reward for all of his time spent organising and generally putting things together when everyone else was too rubbish. It really came to the fore a couple of years ago when we were trying to organise a group holiday. And we left it rather late, and there was only one place left in the country that would take us, 3 miles outside sunny Slough. When the hosts found that 10 25-year-olds were proposing to stay in their house, they tried to cancel on us for fear of our wrecking it. And the group went through all of the stages of grief at this. So we had acceptance, people just shrugging their shoulders. No worries, we'll go next year. We had miserable depression. We'll never go on holiday. That was me. And we had righteous anger, threatening to sue them under the Equality Act for illegal age discrimination. But it was Ben who got bargaining, or, in fact, being sensible enough to just ask nicely, which hadn't really occurred to anyone else while they were stewing. He got to explain that we're just a group of big nerds who wanted to play board games somewhere quiet and watch another dreadful movie featuring Sean Connery in red Y-fronts. For this, Ben got upgraded to King Ben. So I'm going to wrap this up here because all of this speaking has worked up a bit of a thirst in me. So I would like to wrap this up with a moment of reflection, which is that these two would not be the great people and couple they are today without the love and support of everyone here. And I have no doubt that they can continue to count on that throughout the rest of their lives together, and I would like us to seal that by raising a glass to Ben and to Katie. To Ben and Katie.
Show you anytime that you like. I was nervous, but I know that it's real, and I know because it feels right. You're the one my mama told me would be waiting when I'm ready, and I ain't gonna lie, I didn't believe, but she was right and I was wrong, and now you're here and we're alone, and baby that's alright with me. So will you take me? The happy
let's go for 100. Now let's do it for 5. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now forever is a long time, and I'ma spend my whole life trying to make you smile. And I'll make us both the happiest that we've ever been. I'm committed.